A. Scott Bolden is a former prosecutor in New York, now a white-collar criminal defense attorney. Shan Wu is a former federal prosecutor who served as counsel to Attorney General Janet Reno. And Alencia Johnson is a Democratic strategist who served as a senior advisor to President Joe Biden's 2020 campaign. They join me now. Thank you. Scott, let me start with you. 3 indictments so far in 3 different jurisdictions. Trump attorney Alina Habba was asked about the logistics of that this morning. Here's what she said.
The last question would be the order in which these cases are going to come forward. As of today, which is the first one you're tackling? And are you setting up separate teams for the prior 3 as opposed to the civil suit? Let's just say the 3, and then would there be a separate one for the 4th?
Yes. Obviously, there is interaction between the lawyers to the extent that we can make sure that we're coordinated with maintaining court orders and privileges. But no, these are all different cases. They're in different states, and you need to have lawyers that are licensed in those states, as you know, and that have expertise in these different types of cases. So we'll have separate teams, and we do have a little bit of overlap in some of the criminal attorneys, but we have usually one point person from that state.
Scott, even the best lawyers in the world would struggle to work on all of these cases at once. How does the clown car team of Trump lawyers do it?
Well, having done this before, let me say that his lawyer's response was underwhelming. This is one team, one coordination. They need to be talking every day. You have several lawyers on these conference calls or Zoom calls because the messaging has to be correct and consistent with one another. The litigation strategy has to be consistent versus inconsistent. And you're doing all of this under the bright lights of the media as well as politics. You're representing someone running for office. And so local counsel, you have to have someone that's on top of the scheduling, on top of the arguments, and the briefing takes place whenever there's a court appearance, including down to logistics in moving Donald Trump from one courtroom to the other. This is a lot of work. $40 million in legal fees so far. He's going to double that or triple that as we move closer. And all for what? Because he wants to be president, because he's leading in the polls, and because he's raising lots of money. But running for president and being under 75 to 80 felony counts that he's been indicted on are completely inconsistent and impossible to do. That impossibility is going to meet its head really sooner than later. The protective order limits what you can do with this discovery information, sensitive information. They're not saying that Donald Trump can't talk about it. He just can't use it or disclose it to third parties. In fact, at some point, their lawyers said they wanted to share this information with non-paid advisors or consultants, which who knows what that means. And so it's a short-term strategy, but it's not a gag order. And they've got to be careful because Judge Chunkin might say, you know what? I don't like how this is all playing out. I'm going to issue a gag order on my own, and that's even more dangerous than what they're fighting about right now with a protective order.
We will have to leave it there. A. Scott Bolden, Shan Wu, Alencia Johnson, thank you all. Appreciate you all.